Hi everyone, my name is Amy and I just got into Cal. I've been really excited about getting into Cal and everything, so I pulled on my Instagram to see if y'all wanted to read my personal insight questions, and all you said yes. And so I'm going to be reading the essays that got me into UC Berkeley, UC San Diego, UC Davis, and UC Merced. So the first one, what would you say is your greatest talent or skill, and how have you developed and demonstrated that talent over time? My greatest talent is my extraordinary perseverance. When I was a child, I ran away from mean girls and quit activities that I wasn't good at. But as life got harder and more demanding, I couldn't do that anymore. On my 14th birthday, I was thrown out of my house, and AR-15 was shoved in my face, and I survived homelessness. Instead of letting trauma break me, I used pain to fuel my drive to create a better life for myself. One of my more gratifying stories is playing 3 back-to-back sports in 10th grade. I loved it because it filled my schedule, kept me out of trouble, and I ended up well known and respected among staff and other students. At the same time, it was a difficult experience because I wasn't good at sports. I couldn't run fast, I couldn't catch. My depth perception was as good as a fruit fly's. Incidentally, I was bullied as soon as I joined the first team. It was hard to improve when my teammates were teasing me, but I showed up to every practice and was ready for every game. I was on the verge of quitting after being hit over the head with a bat and having a rock thrown at my eye, but I coped by visualizing my end goal. I was going to end the year as a 3-sport athlete with a 3.8 GPA, and I was writing that dream until the end of the year. But I was crushed because my bullies were on the yearbook committee and made sure that a picture of my butt in baggy softball pants made it to print. I was experiencing textbook mean girl humiliation, and it made me think less of my accomplishments. But when I reflected on the year, I recognized my strength and perseverance. I juggled having a father in jail, being a full-time student, a leader of a social justice club, and 3 sports. Considering what I've been through, being able to pull that off highlights my perseverance. The second question I chose was describe how you have taken advantage of a significant educational opportunity or of a work to become an educational barrier you faced. I hated being bored, so every year I participated in a project or signed myself up for something that would push my limits. 9th grade I did theater, 10th grade I did sports, and 11th grade I took 3 advanced placement classes. I was the most excited about AP language because my teacher and I thought I would do great because I've done great in her past classes. I was removed from honors English in 10th grade, so I was excited to be in an academically challenging class. My goal was to do my best work yet and pass the AP exam at the end of the year. I've never struggled in an English class, but AP was all it took to make me nervous. When I would receive my essays back with failing scores, I became insecure because I realized I was only above average in an average classroom. My practice multiple choice tests weren't the best either because I'm admittedly not a strong test taker. I had a lot to improve on before the AP exam, so I started studying more outside of class. The College Board has copies of past writing prompts, so I worked on those and asked my teacher if she could grade them and give me tips. I was learning how to write persuasive arguments on the fly and have great recall of examples and pieces of evidence I wanted to use in my essays. I also volunteered a lot to read flowery writing. My favorite book from that class was The Scarlet Letter because powering through the writing made me a better reader. I still think that was my favorite class ever. It was fast-paced and fun, and I got better as the year went on. I knew my hard work paid off when my teacher called me congratulating me on being one of the few students who passed the AP exam. The score made me happy, but knowing that I was quicker and smarter than I was at the beginning of the year made me happier. I'm going to move on to the last question I answered, to what have you done to make your school or community a better place? Going into 9th grade at Dorsey, I knew I wanted to commit my life to helping others. I had just come back from the worst experience of my life, but moving to Los Angeles gave me a second chance, and I wanted to use it to give back to my community. I became a core leader of Students Deserve, a club where youth organized to make schools safer for Black, brown, and Muslim students. I've been committed to this organization for nearly 4 years because it gave me the opportunity to create the change I wanted to see in the world, starting with ending a racially biased policy in the Los Angeles Unified School District. School administration was required to conduct random backpack searches of students. Students Deserve called out the policy for only affecting a small number of the country, but a large number of Black and low-income communities. We launched the End Random Searches initiative and organized conferences, workshops, flyer and button campaigns, a student strike, and multiple meetings with LAUSD board members in an effort to end random searches in every LAUSD school. I learned a lot about the resilience of young people and the power of a movement. We were told by our board members to quit that we didn't know what we were talking about. When my friends were giving emotional testimony about their experiences with searches, they were called liars. School police tried to intimidate us too, and as young people, it was overwhelming and scary. The movement was growing after every meeting, and every meeting was one step closer to negotiations. I was motivated by knowing that if we won, my little brother would never be randomly searched, and neither would 300,000 middle and high school students. We had the power to literally change lives, so we continued to organize. In 3 years, we eliminated a 27-year-old policy and set new standards for school safety. It was empowering to correct this injustice in our education system, and I want to grow to correct injustices around the world. I moved to a more private place to read my last one because this is deeply personal. What is your most significant challenge you have faced, and what steps have you taken to overcome this challenge? I moved to Stockton, California this summer after 7th grade, and I was starting to build a happy life. That ended because my dad and I were the victims of a SWAT raid a month into freshman year. My door was broken in by agents and they beckoned me away from my bed, while a rifle tracked my movements out my room and into a police car. After I was released, I got a tip that my stepbrothers had been captured by Child Protective Services and feds would be after me next. Unaccompanied, I fled to Oakland, where I was on the streets for 2 weeks until it was safe to leave. I had been homeless before, but I felt safe then because of my dad and my stepbrothers. They had reassured me that I wasn't alone. But now I really was alone. But I didn't give up because I thought about my future. I knew neither of my parents made it to high school, so it was imperative for me to go as far as I could with my education. What happened was horrible, but I composed myself. I called my mom and asked her to take me back to Los Angeles, where I would have stable housing and access to school. I spared her the details because she would have made sure my dad couldn't see me again. Even though that meant I had to process the trauma all alone, I've kept the secret to this day because it's kept my dad's and my relationship safe. Going back to school was isolating because it was too late to join clubs, sports, or friend groups. I overcompensated by doing well in class, but I was boiling with overwhelming emotion. I released it by throwing myself into activities I was passionate about, like acting in the school play, being a part of the gaming club at Dorsey High School, and joining a group that organizes to make Black Lives Matter in schools. This experience was traumatic, but it made me come out of my shell and feel more confident in my abilities to excel despite obstacles. To end the video, I want to thank everybody that was a part of my process of me growing through high school. I want to thank my teachers, I want to thank Ms. Haparachi, I thank everybody and students deserve, and I want to thank my dad because he's made me the strongest person, and I haven't even told him I got into Cal yet because I haven't been able to visit him because of stupid coronavirus. But I will see him soon, and I will see all my future bears at Berkeley, so thank you so much.